सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. So we were seeing the chapter Right Knowledge. We saw the invocation verses. Okay. Okay. The first four verses we saw, right?
Yes, Swami, I think we saw
Even the fifth.
We
Yeah,
have to
but
see
we
the
did
fifth
not-
onwards. Yes. First four we have seen. Any
Swamiji,
question?
could you just repeat the last part because it got disconnected and I was not able to reconnect then.
Which one?
The fourth one, fourth verse. I think that got disconnected then.
Yeah, it says that all of the kriyas in the Veda, etc., are also meant for self-knowledge by giving you chitta shuddhi. That's the whole thing. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
one-line idea of the whole thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
because atma labhat paraha nanyaha. There is no labha greater than atma labha.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
yeah. Okay. So, any other questions, clarifications? Also, all clear. Okay. I assume it's clear.
Yes, Swami.
Okay. आत्मर्थोऽपि ये हि यो लाभः सुख इष्टो विपर्ययः आत्मलाभः परः प्रोक्तः नित्यत्वात् ब्रह्मवेदिभिः. आत्मर्थो अपि हि ये लाभः, यो लाभः, those gains which are meant for yourself, which are meant for yourself, meaning sukha ye ishtaha. Why is it meant for yourself? Why do you want anything in life? In the hope that it will give you some happiness. In the hope it will give you some happiness. Okay. That's why this thing is done. If you didn't think it will give you happiness, you will not want it. Okay. So, for the sake of your happiness is all gain. Everything that you want in life ultimately comes down to wanting it for your happiness. Even loving somebody else on Valentine's Day is meant for that only. Okay. And when people say we must love ourselves, that is also meant for that only. Because which self are you talking about? Which self are you talking about? Yeah. Therefore, Atmartham eva. And if the attempt is at gaining sukha by something, okay? You want to gain sukha by something, by gaining something. The result may be opposite as well. Viparyayaha. That's why they say be careful what you pray for. Your prayers may be answered. Because it's always like that. No? Once you gain it, you start seeing the limitations of it. When you are anticipating what will happen, you are very positive. With a little bit of anxiety along with it. But at the same time, you cannot say you will not get the opposite result. Excuse me. So, very often the result can be quite opposite. You thought you will gain some joy out of it. You thought you will gain some joy out of it. We always see first flush of love, because Valentine's Day, okay, love example. First flush of love. And then, after that what? Then all the fight starts. Natural. Why? Because now you are comfortable with each other. You don't have to be on your best behavior. You can show the real side of what you are. The man becomes a problem solver. The woman becomes a home improvement committee. And bus. After some time, I allow you. You go your way, I go my way. Or we'll have a comfortable working arrangement. Or I can't stand the sight of the guy, I have to get away from him. Viparyaya. All this comes under Viparyaya. Okay. Anything is like that. Like this middle-aged lady told me, "Sir, you should have seen me when I was young. I was so slim and beautiful. Guys used to keep a line and bring me boxes of chocolates. Why did I eat all of them?" Why did you eat? I wanted to be happy. And now what is happening? Whatever I do, the weight doesn't go away. Therefore, Viparyaya. Okay, you all know that. Enough experience is there in life for all these things. Okay. Atma labha tu paraha proktaha. Atma labha is not like that. Paraha proktaha is called absolute. Why? Anando praptaha anandi bhavati. Once you gain ananda, what do you expect? Once you have discovered yourself as ananda, you expect to be miserable about it. How can you be miserable? You are ananda. No? Your circumstances in life sometimes can be miserable. Yes, of course. But are you miserable? You are ananda going through miserable circumstances, that's all. But you are still ananda. Does that change? That doesn't change. Why? Nityaha. Nityatvad. Nityatvad, he says. Because it is nityaha, unconditioned by time and space. The Atma is unconditioned by time and space. Therefore, there is nothing like losing the Atma once gained. Because it happens to be yourself. And because it is Nitya, unconditioned by time and space, the only way to gain it is by knowing it. Because already you, anything that's unconditioned by time and space has only to be known. You all remember the paribhasha for the rule of interpretation? Aparam chet kartavyam, param chet jnatavyam. Aparam, if it is finite.
Yeah.
Kartavyam, it has to be gained by action. I want to build up my immunity. You have to do some work on it. You have to do some work on it. Advanced yoga pranayamas. Qigong, Wim Hof method. Of course, Gujaratis have one solution for everything. Haldi doodh. It works up to a point. Not that it doesn't work. Yeah. So, kartavyam. Why? Because it's a finite end. Then what is infinite? Myself. What should you do to gain that? No, it. No. People are having some interesting actions at home.
Hello.
Okay. Now that should be fine. Yeah. I muted everybody with an option of unmuting yourself. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. If you need to ask me anything, you can unmute and ask. Therefore, it is like saying, the kid comes and asks me, I want to gain space, what should I do? Huh? There's space is everywhere, you just have to recognize it. What else can you do to gain it? If it is a flat, you have to do a lot to gain it. It's an apartment. A flat. You have to do a lot to gain it, okay? Especially in Bombay, it's expensive. But space, what do you need? What to do? Recognize. That's all. No, Swamiji, I'm talking about space between me and my partner. Recognize there's a lot of space between you and your partner. That's why you want space. I want space with my mind. There's so much of a hassle in my mind. There's a lot of space. Because it's mithya, there is a lot of space actually. So anything infinite, you have to only recognize it. Actually, only the Atma is infinite. Space comes closer, therefore it is used as an example. That's all. Yeah. Therefore, param labha nityatvad. And he says, who says that? He could have said the Shastra says that. But he says, Brahma Vedibihi. Those who know Brahman, they say that. Yeah. Shastra of course says it. But remember, every Shastra, every Upanishad is a dialogue between some guru and some teacher, some student. No? Some guru and some student. Therefore, the Shastra is saying it, and the Brahma Vedibihi are people who are validated. So, human beings have validated it. Ever who can validate it? All of you, okay? Who can validate it? Every one of you. Brahma Vedibihi. Yeah. Okay. Atma labhat param nanyat labha kasna vidite. Atmarthopi ye labha. Nityatvad Brahma Vedibihi. Okay. Therefore, little bit he elaborates on that. Swayam labdha svabhavatvad labha tasya na cha anyatah न अन्य अपेक्षित यो लाभः सो अन्य दृष्टि समुद्भवः. स्वयं लब्ध स्वभावत्वात् आत्मः स्वयं लब्ध स्वभावत्वात्, because of is of the nature of already there. Long ago, we talked about two words. It's a long ago. So if people have forgotten that, I can understand that. Okay. Because it's really long. We use two terms. Apraptasya prapti and praptasya prapti. I'm sure now all of you remember it. Apraptasya prapti. Gaining what I don't have with me. Gaining what I don't have. I don't have it now, I am gaining it. Or praptasya praptihi, gaining what you already have. Swamiji's old example. Where are my specs? Nothing in this house is where I keep it. Where is my specs gone? Where is that little rascal? He must have only moved it. And the wife says, no, I know for sure he has not moved it. It must be where you have kept it. Then you must have moved it because you have this habit of reorganizing even my table, even though I told you I'll never do it. And she lets the fun continue because she knows this is one argument she is definitely winning. Other arguments also she wins because the guy apologizes anyway. Here, all it recognizes is, all it begins is recognition that I already have it. I already have it. Therefore, based on that is this verse. He says, Swayam labdha swabhavatvat labha tasya na kasyana. Alabha tasya na kasyana. Okay. It does not depend on anything else for gaining. There is no real loss. The gain and loss are actually speaking notional. But the loss seems very real. Why? Because all my suffering is because I don't know what I am. My sense of isolation, grief, loneliness. I'm not talking only of physical isolation, emotional isolation, which is worse. All that comes from where? My existential issues, my purposelessness. Yeah, we can talk about living with priorities and all that thing, true. But ultimately what happens? 6 feet under the ground or Ramanam Satya hai? What about your priorities? Your purpose, your importance. All that comes from where? Your sense of finitude. You have missed yourself. Therefore, the loss seems real. Because the loss seems real, the gain also seems real. Iha chet avedhi tata satyamasti. If you know it here, then there is reality in your life. Nachet avedhi. If you don't know, mahati vinashti. The loss is great. Why? Because you miss the infinite. If you don't know yourself, you are missing the infinite. That's not something small. Mahati vinashti. Mahati vinashti. Therefore he says, okay, na cha anyataha, na anya apekshaha tu yo labha, so anya drishti swabhavataha. Okay, here in the translation there is a little problem, okay. Anya apekshasu yo labha. Wherever you think that happiness comes from anya apekshaha to labha, by gaining something depending upon something else. Anya labha, anya apekshaha. Anya labha, gaining something other than you. What is that? Anya apeksha, by depending on certain things. What is that? Your effort, time, materials, nimittas, people. To achieve something, all this is involved. No? To achieve anything in life, if you think it is other than you, all this is involved. And you have to get all this correct to gain it, and then you have to feel happy. He says that notion of happiness is based on what? Anya drishti swabhavaha. Anya Drishti Swabhava. That notion of happiness, that you'll be happy by gaining something else, is Anya Drishti Swabhavaha, because you see things different than you. Very naturally, you see things different from you. So things are different from me, only functionally. Atma is not different from anything else. Atma is not different from anything else. Nityatva, same argument. There's only one. Everything else is a manifestation. There's only one Atma, everything else is a manifestation. Therefore, functionally, of course, certain things are different. That's okay. That's okay. But that notion that I will get happy only if I gain that thing comes from the sense of difference. Why? I am this much only. The moment you say I am this much only, there is finitude and happiness. Everything is not okay. You may not be very evidently unhappy, but there is a vague dissatisfaction in you, even if things are going smoothly. It's like couples come to me sometimes. Everything is going fine in their lives. Everything is going fine, okay? Their relationships are fine. They communicate well. Okay? They communicate well. They kept the spark alive. They do small gestures of love for each other regularly. All that happens. But Swamiji, this relationship is not going anywhere. Where do you expect it to go? It is great as it is. Only way it can go is down now. That vague dissatisfaction, because you are dissatisfied with yourself. It has got nothing to do with. It has got nothing to do with the situation, the relationship, or the dynamics of the relationship. It has got something to do with you. Yeah. It has got something to do with you. The vagueness in your life, the dissatisfaction in your life. Not spelt out. Because when you look at life, everything is okay. ठीक है. Therefore, this thinking that I will become happy by gaining something else, that comes from this understanding. Yeah. That I am a finite entity and I need to add or chop things. Both can be there. Add things. All your ragas you want to add. All your dveshas you want to chop. And not that raga dvesha is permanent. It keeps moving in and out. Objects of raga becomes object of dvesha and vice versa also. All that because of this sense of finitude. And that will go only with self-knowledge. That will go only with self-knowledge. Only with self-knowledge will you gain freedom from that. There is no other freedom. There is no other freedom. There is no other fulfillment. Temporary fulfillment, of course. A new relationship, a new car, a new house, a new wife. Sorry, same wife but renewed relationship. Temporary fulfillment, all of it will give you. It is like, where did I read this comment? Very famous personality said this. It is like taking a room with a view, and after some time, that view becomes commonplace. Do you know who was a great philosopher who said this? Don't say Dumbledore and all that. Different, Anne Fleming, writing on James Bond. Okay. Yeah. You see that? Yeah, something new is like taking a room with a view. After some time, it pains. Some of you have been with me to Rishikesh. The place, our ashram, is one of the most beautiful places in the Himalayas. Very secure also, safe from floods. Even if Ganga gets flooded, we are safe. Unless she rises more than 30 feet, which is rare. It has happened once or twice, but rare. But after, we stayed there for years. So, common view, Ganga, acha, mountain, good, nice. Then somebody will visit. Oh wow, what a great place. Then we'll shake our hand and look at, it's really great. So everything is like this. Every temporary fulfillment that you gain is become temporary because of this. Even if there is nothing wrong with it. They'll say there is nothing wrong. But it is not going anywhere. Remember that? Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. Except it is time bound, space bound, finite. Therefore, it cannot give you the fulfillment you are looking for. Yeah. Pandemic. You got fed up of being at home. I can understand. Therefore, where do you go? A stay vacation. Staycation. Where you're taking your buri, bistar, and everything, and your work and your laptop and everything, and going and staying somewhere else and doing the same thing. There also there is mask and isolation and everything. Doesn't change. But you have a change of scene. What change of scene? 4 walls are 4 walls. Buildings are buildings. Trees are trees. What change? If you are bored here, you will be bored there also after some time. This young couple I know, married just for a year or so, left Bombay and went to the in-laws' place. The guy went to his in-laws' place. First to his place for some time, then to the wife's place. And his son-in-law, so naturally he'll be treated nicely. Khatirdari ho jayega, as they say. So he said, oh, great time, Swamiji, I'm enjoying being here. I said, wait. Yesterday I got a call. I'm waiting to come back to Bombay. 1 month. Why am I elaborating all this? Going back to basics, okay? Before we start any advanced text, getting the basics clear. Getting the basics clear. That with the perception of finitude, with the perception that things are other than me, you will get no fulfillment in life. Sometimes you'll be surprised at the questions I am asked. One lady comes and asks me, lady, not a young girl, okay, lady. Samji, you're not bored of wearing the same color every day. What do you tell her? You don't feel isolated during the pandemic? No. Where is isolation? No. I'm happy meeting my students, my friends, etc. I'm not saying no to that. That's functional. Of course, I'm happy. The other day, I dropped and met a couple of my students. Oh, I felt very nice about it. Great couple. Felt nice, good. Of course, you will. But if you are not Ananda, you will say, can't meet somebody else here. Boring this is. No, this is good, but but there will always be a but. There will always be a but. Therefore, the perception of duality is the one that is responsible for your sense of finitude. Remember, when I say perception of duality, I am talking cognitively taking duality as real. I am using perception in that sense, not perception as sense perception. The sense perception, what we call as Dvaita Pratiti, is not against what? Dvaita Pratiti is not against
Advaita Jnanam.
Advaita Siddhi, yes. It is not against Advaita Jnanam or Advaita Siddhi. Yeah. True, it is not. Yeah. Therefore, when you take the duality as real, seeing duality is not an issue. But you taking it as real is the issue. Therefore, Dvaita Pratiti is not the issue. But the perception that this duality is real, that perception is a problem. Okay, then he is making another fundamental comment here. Okay. Anya drishti tu avidyaya syan tannasho moksha uchyate jnane neva tu so apisyan avirodhatvat na karmanaha anya drishti tu avidyaya syat. This taking that there is other, the reality of the other is purely because of avidya. You know, I'm digressing slightly, but it is important to understand this. In the last few years, we have seen a liberal-oriented discussion, which has some validity. I'm not saying it is not valid just because the liberals have said it. No. The liberals have some good points to make also. Okay. The problem of the other. It's the perception of the other that makes us feel. If you are talking in the functional world, there will always be a perception of the other. Can you get away from it? Can you really get away from it? You are different from me, I am different from you, na? Can you say no? Functionally speaking, your house is your house, my house is my house, no? I can't say my house is my house, your house also is my house, no? Functionally, the perception of the other is there. How will you ever get rid of it? The perception of the other, that is cause of all problems. Yeah, true. How are you going to get rid of it? You can't. That means what? You are supposed to always live in the problem. No, therefore we have to become liberal. Liberal means what? Live and let live. You do your thing, I'll do my thing. You don't step on my toes, I won't step on your toes. This is called dharma. This is called dharma. I don't damage your happiness, you don't damage mine. I won't try to change you, you don't try to change me. Simple, no? That's all you can do functionally. This is all we can do functionally. We are all one. In what way are we one? Tell me in what way are we one? In India, can we say we are one? Languages are different. Religions are different. Cultures are different. Cultures meaning what you eat and things like that. Those type of things. Superficial culture. The top cultures that you see is different. Food habits are different. Living habits are different. Dressing habits are different. Thank God for the difference. It will be a pretty boring place. So, functionally speaking, you can have a sense of collective identity. That's all. Nothing more than that. The highest that human beings have been able to commit up to now without self-knowledge. If you keep self-knowledge apart, functionally speaking, the highest people have been able to commit up till now is the idea of the nation. People are willing to die for it. No? That's the highest collective identity you have been able to do up to now. Yes, we do talk about the world as one Vasudeva Kutumbakam, etc. We say that. Vasudeva means the whole universe, okay? This plane of existence, this earthly plane of existence is one. All living on earth is one. We say that. But very few come to that level of thinking. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people saying that. Why? Because they want a visa to go to USA. Or they want to take up citizenship there. They will say, after all, world is one. No? That is convenience. There is no great value. Okay. I'm not saying don't change your citizenship. I'm not the one who will say something like that. Okay. But that's the most you can do functionally. So when they say world is one, etc., take it with not a pinch of salt. Take it with a bucket of salt. Okay. Take it with a bucket of salt. There is no oneness there. That's a joke. Therefore, collective identity is the maximum you can have. And managing their collective identity is not easy. Why? Because local pulls and pushes will always be there. And if there is one or two political parties there who are not giving into that national identity, you have a big issue there. Big problem. Who will sign a private MOU between the Communist Party of China, etc. You have a big issue on hand. Security issue on hand you will have. Collective identity, maximum you can have is nation, okay? Maximum, up to now. If people evolve further, and I hope they do, then maybe we can reach the thing about the whole world as Vasudeva Kutumbakam. We are all family, one family. Okay? Maybe we'll require some more universal calamities to happen to force us into that thinking. Little bit COVID did that. Little bit, not too much. Because now everyone wants to be friends with us. Why? Vaccine. Canada, they were supporting separatists, were saying, no, give us a vaccine, you're our friend. We will give it. We are Indians, we will do that. We know that they only wanted and they're saying all this only for this, but no problem, Baba. We have a larger heart. We will do it. We will do it. But remember, it was COVID time that China tried to intrude. So where is that oneness? Not yet. Not yet. Yeah, that way you can have one thinking. You know? We are all one. I'll convert all of you to my way of thinking and we'll become one. Many world conquerors tried that. Many religions tried that and flopped miserably. From Alexander the Great to Timur Lang, etc., to modern religions, colonial powers. What is that right? Yeah, the British Empire. Sun never set on the British Empire. Now, if you go to London, especially at this time, you will wonder whether the sun ever rises there.
It doesn't rise. It doesn't rise. So how can it set?
It's also cloudy. It doesn't rise. So, this is the whole thing. Functionally speaking, I want you to recognize this. Yeah, Kamini, you want to say something?
No, I want to just ask you this, which you are talking about, this collective identity.
Yeah.
This is what we can understand when we don't come to the scriptures.
Yeah.
But if we understand the scriptures, then it would be understanding of samadhana and that sarvatma bhava.
Sarvatma bhava. That will happen only, that's what he is saying here. Anya drishti tu avidyaya syat. Tan nashaha moksha uchyate. With avidya, that anya drishti will always be there. Maximum we have come up to now is collective identity of a nation. Max. That also everyone has not come. Everyone has not come. There are enough liberals who will argue that nation is a false idea. It is our national identity that is responsible for wars. That's why you want to have a communist revolution in India, right? So your identity is Communist Party. Like what the Naxals are trying to do in Naxalbari, Chhattisgarh and all this place. So remember, all these issues, functionally, they will always be there. They will always be there.
And like how you say, functionally we can only reach up to this point.
Yeah. Maximum, some collective identity you will have.
Yes.
And when you have a collective identity, remember one thing, the individual will always assert himself. Somebody will want to be the president, somebody will want to be the prime minister, somebody will want to be the head of the club. Natural. It is natural. It's very natural. Why? Because you are everything anyway, isn't it? So when you don't know that, it will come through like this, through the ignorance of your mind, it will come like that. Therefore, he says, Tan nashaha mokshochate. Avidya nashaha, the destruction of that ignorance which is creating this identity issues. The destruction of ignorance which is creating the sense of the other. Mokshaha iti uchyate. Why? Because you are no more bound. You are in harmony with the whole universe, even if there are a lot of problems in the world. You recognize the problems. You are functional enough to recognize the problems. You're functional enough to do something about it, which is what is in your power. You're functional enough. So you will stride both the worlds very comfortably, the functional one and the real one, without any problems. You're fine. That is what he's saying here, okay? Jnane neva tu saha api syad. And ajnana nasha, how can it take place? Ajnana nasha can take place only with knowledge. There is no other way of negating ignorance. Whatever you do, why? He says, avirodhatvat na karmanaha. Karma is not opposed to ignorance. Karma is not opposed to ignorance. Therefore, karma will not negate ignorance. Why? Can anybody say why karma is not opposed to ignorance? Come on, give it a shot.
Yes, yes. We
Tell
can
me.
say action.
Huh?
Action is the result of ignorance.
Why?
The root
How?
of action. Yeah,
How?
because ignorance gives me the sense of finitude. Finitude increases my desire. My desire impels me to action.
Not bad. Not bad. Yeah. Remember, action is done by the karta, the doer. The doer is set up by what? Ignorance.
Ignorance.
Ahankara is set up by ignorance.
Yes, aham karoti. Yeah.
Ahankara is set up by ignorance. Because Ahankara is set up by ignorance, any action is a product of ignorance. Ahankara, I, my finitude is set up by the ignorance. The other is set up by ignorance. The reality of the other is set up by ignorance. That, if I get that, I will be happy, is set up by ignorance. Therefore, karma is a product of ignorance, not opposed to ignorance. Avirodhata. Therefore, whatever you do, kayakam manasam va, whether it is physical activity, or mental activity, meditations, etc. Shambhavi mudra, or any other mudra that you know, or any other kriya that you do. There are a lot of kriyas like this. Each master gives it a name, that's all. Hundreds of kriyas are there like that. The whole Yogananda thing is based on kriya yoga only. Because that's all about self-purification. Purification of the body and mind, because there's a lot of junk. Very good. It's very good for certain things. You will have stress, your stress will disappear. Your immunity will rise sky high. You won't need a vaccine for corona if you can really raise your immunity that high. True. That much will happen. But will your sense of finitude go? They will say that you are infinite, you are powerful, you are this. What infinite are you talking about? Because of the breathing I am not doing? Because of the mental games I am playing? Mental visualization, etc. I become finite. Any action, finite plus finite plus finite plus finite plus finite, does not become infinite. What is, isn't all useful? All of them are useful. Certain things I also do. Why? It keeps my body and mind fine. Yeah, it keeps my body and mind fine. So functionally I am fine. I will not become hopefully, I will not become a problem for my students. So I'll keep my body and mind fine. Yeah, that's good. But is it ultimate? No.
No.
My doctor friends know that sometimes I ring up and say, hey, I say the problem, what to do? I do. Because it's finite, na? Therefore there is a limitation. There is a limitation to it. If nothing, karma will get you. Your past karma.
Yeah,
Your prarabdha will get you.
Yes.
However good and your past karma will get you. Like I given you all that example. I woke up from sleep with a ligament tear. But Sare Sati, Shani got me well, nicely. And I started laughing at it. Why? Because he got me. All my effort at keeping fit, and in spite of that, he got me. Well, Shani's greatness, okay. Therefore, a finite action or a series of finite actions is not going to make you infinite. All the Manasa Puja that you can do, meditations that you can do, hundreds mentioned in the Veda, hundreds. Why look elsewhere? Most things what other people do have all had its source here. Tibetan Qigong, etc. came from here. We have forgotten some of it, that's all. Or it is lost. Only one or two teachers know it. Modern methods you will find on the net. Wim Hof breathing. It's a great system. A very simple, great system. It's a good system. But when I looked at it, it is all from Qigong, yoga, etc. And he admits, I studied in yoga I came to India and studied under various teachers. Not only one teacher, I studied under various people. And he put together something, which is good, very creative. Nice. Won't make you infinite. Any amount of meditations you do, Ajnanam will not go. Some experiential thing you will get, insight you will get, that's all, maximum. Maximum. I know a great yogi who claims to have got it in Samadhi, etc., sent his students to pick up books from our ashram. Why? Because he wanted to read and see, understand what he has gone through. And we are happy with it. Why? And let him read and understand. Na? Some more knowledge and understanding is coming into the society. We are happy. We don't have copyright over this knowledge. It is Ishvara's jnana. It is Ishvara's knowledge, not ours. So Swamiji, are you saying like other religions that you can gain nirvana only if you come through us? No. Wherever this knowledge is, in whichever culture or religion, if it is there, you will gain it. I see the seeds of it everywhere. We have developed a system of elaborate understanding. That's all. So if you are getting it elsewhere, please get it. As long as you understand your limitlessness, fine. That's why we don't claim copyright. None of the rishis also gained it. He says, this is what we have gained from the Lord. This is what we are giving you. That's it. Take it as a gift. But that anything you do, physical or mental, emotional, it is not going to destroy self-ignorance. That I am a finite being is not going to destroy. Understand this well. Because only vrittik jnanam is opposed to ignorance. Even the Atma is not opposed to ignorance. Atma is not opposed to ignorance. If Atma was opposed to ignorance, you will never be ignorant. Because Atma is always there. Atma is not opposed to ignorance. Yeah.
Swami, can you repeat what jnanam you said?
Beg your pardon?
What jnanam did you say?
I'll explain. Okay. Understand this. Atma is not opposed to ignorance. Like the sun is not opposed to a cloud. You see the cloud in the light of the sun. You see that you are ignorant in the light of the awareness that you are. So the awareness, consciousness is not opposed to ignorance. Why? It does not have an independent reality.
Of its own.
It does not have an independent reality. Therefore, is not opposed to it. Therefore, to negate ignorance that is there in your mind, you need the knowledge to happen in your mind as a thought, vritti. That's why I said vritti jnanam. Vritti jnanam. That knowledge, that akhandakara vritti, aham brahmasmi iti, soham iti, I am that limitless consciousness. That knowledge has to click in your mind. Only that vritti jnanam will negate that ignorance. Therefore, he says, karma will not. Okay.
Swamiji, can you just take this vritti jnanam piece once again? Could you just go over it once again?
Okay. Look at it. Karma does not negate ignorance, it cannot. He is going to bring some more arguments also. Atma is not opposed to ignorance. Let me give you an example. Okay. Do you know what is there in my pocket? Are you the consciousness different from what is there in my pocket? How will the ignorance of what is there in my pocket go? When you recognize it, no? This knowledge took place where? In your mind alone. No? It didn't take place anywhere else. This knowledge took place in your mind. Okay? You are friendly with this guy. Another example, because what's in your mind? You are friendly with this guy. Your friends notice you are very friendly. Hey, I think you are in love with this guy. Oh, no. We are friends, we are buddies. Then you go home, sit down and think. Then what happens? Vritti jnanam takes place. The ignorance that you had, that you did not know your emotion. Remember? Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. That you did not know this emotion in your mind. That you did not know this emotion in your mind. Once you saw it, sakshi vetyam, perception by the sakshi. Correct. Now I know.
Will go out and they will be.
Now you know. Because that vritti jnanam came into your mind, you know it. Therefore, It is only the knowledge that takes place in your mind that can negate the ignorance that is in your mind. Am I making sense to all of you?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. This is what I mean by vritti jnanam. That it is the knowledge in your mind that will take care of the ignorance that you have. And which is true for any knowledge. This is true for any knowledge. Not only not only knowledge about things, about what you can see.
Can't hear you, Swamiji.
Yeah, you can hear me now.
Yeah, but can't see you also.
I'm there very much.
Okay, can't see you. Swami.
Join your video. You must have, because we disconnected, you must have, your video must have gone.
Amini, can you see him?
No, no, Swamiji. And my video is on since then. On.
My video is also on, Swamiji.
My
I
video is
can't
also
see
on.
you.
Why can't you see me?
I got you.
Suddenly we could not see you. Suddenly.
I know, because we got disconnected.
Yeah.
Yeah. How is it now? Is it okay now? Can you all hear me now? Okay, I'm sure you all can see me now. Correct? Can you all see me now? Yeah, now you can see me. And so this is it.
Yes, Swami.
So, it is a vritti jnanam. It is a vritti jnanam that will help you gain the knowledge. Nothing else. You need that vritti jnanam to destroy ignorance of anything. Whether that ignorance is of a pen in my pocket or a thought in your mind, anything. If you have to gain knowledge, you will need a thought clarifying what that thing is about and negating the ignorance about that object. The self is no exception to it. If you need to destroy the ignorance about what you are, that you are is known to you. That you are is known. Nitya upalabdhi swarupoha. Therefore, that you are is very clear. What you are is not clear. I am, I exist is swata siddham, swata jnatam, self-evident. But what is my nature? That I don't know. And because I don't know that, I need to know that. Therefore, I need that thought in my mind to destroy the ignorance about it. Am I being clear to all of you?
Yes, yes, Swami.
Okay.
Swamiji, may I say something?
Yeah?
The vritti is also mithya, no?
Yeah. But don't confuse with all those things now. Understand the process first.
Okay.
Let your
Okay,
mind
sir.
not jump too
Sure.
much, Stick with what I'm saying. That will make it clearer. The Mithya Satyam, etc. I'll bring in later. Okay? Okay.
Swamiji, I have a question.
Yep.
So this perception of duality will also be in the mind only, no? Because perceptions any which ways will go out and collect the data. So there will always be differences, like you see different objects, you smell this, that. But that duality is in the mind. So that
Yes.
also has to go, that perception of duality.
So where does
also in
where
mind.
does the mind go when you have to know an emotion? Where does the mind go? Does it collect data from outside?
No.
It's Sakshi Pratyaksham, no, Swami.
Yeah, let Kavita answer. Now I'm asking her the question.
Okay.
It doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't gather anything from outside, no? What is inside? Yeah.
No.
So self, and here the self is yourself. Therefore, without a subject-object divide, that's what we talked about in Akhandakara, Vritti, etc. We'll talk about it later also. Okay. You recognize the self. I am. I am pure consciousness. The conscious being that I am is limitlessness. So before understand what is karma and knowledge first. Don't jump ahead. Okay? Don't jump ahead. Okay. Then he says further, कर्म कार्यः तु अनित्यः स्यात् अविद्या काम कारणः प्रमाणं वेद एव त्र ज्ञानस्य अधिगमे स्मृतः. Says karma karyah. Karma is an effect. Produced by a person. Therefore, anitya. Conditioned by time and space. You will do something at a given time, at a given place. You are not going to do something at all times and all places simultaneously. Therefore, anityatvat. And avidya kama karanaha. Avidya kama karanam. The karma is produced by ignorance and kama, desire. No, Swamiji, I do a lot of things without desire. Really? Like what? Time pass. Mungfali activities. Mungfali activities is my terminology, okay? Because I used to go up and down Bombay, Surat. And the guys come on the train selling these peanuts, Mungfali. And they won't say peanuts or Mungfali, they won't say when they are selling it. Time pass, time pass, time pass. I'm not joking. Because boredom eating this is, not really hungry. But boredom eating this is. Okay. So time pass. Therefore that act, then your desire is to pass the time. And if you are such a person who is so rich in time that you have time to pass, fine. Therefore, avidya kama karanam. Avidya kama karana. Alright. Then he jumps one couple of steps. Therefore, if avidya is a karanam, you need knowledge to negate it. Correct? You need knowledge. And every knowledge comes from a pramana. Understand this very clearly. No pramana, no knowledge. No pramana, no knowledge. But Swamiji, what about all these great yogis like Vasishtha, Vishwamitra and all? They would just know things. Correct, they would know. For them it is Sakshi Vetyam, because they would connect up with the cosmic mind and they will be able to see that particular aspect in the cosmic mind directly. Therefore, it was gained Sakshi Vetyam by them. Directly by the knower without the necessity of an intervening sense organ. Like how you see your emotions, they peeped into the cosmic mind and got knowledge about some things. But remember, the knowledge will still be finite only. It won't be Ishvara Jnana. Because it's only a peep. So some prophets, some this, all those people gain peeps like that. In peep. So that also there is a pramana. That pramana is called Sakshi Vetyam, perception, but directly by the Sakshi, the witness. So here he says, what is the pramana for knowing the truth? What is the pramana for knowing the truth? He says, pramanam veda eva yatra. Pramana is a Veda that's revealed by Ishvara. Or that is there in Ishvara's mind if you want to peep into it. Okay. Okay. Jnanasya adhigame spruta. Therefore, the Jnanasya adhigamaha, the start of this knowledge, is talked about as from the Veda. Talked about as from the Veda. How old is the Veda? Don't ask me. Really. Don't ask me. Recently, I heard somebody who has done some research on this, trying to find out the age of Mahabharata and Ramayana. So he went into astronomy, went into geology, okay, the study of subterranean rivers, etc. And all these facts put together very coherently. He's written a book on it also. Mahabharata was 7,000 years ago. Ramayana was another 5,000 years ago. Before Rama, there were 39 kings. 39 emperors ruled before Rama. So, what is the time frame we are talking about of the Veda? I don't know. What's the time frame? One of the rishis was supposed to have got fire from the gods for human beings. That means we are talking about the Vedas being there even before a civilization came up. Prehistoric times. Why? Human beings were there. Sense of finitude was there. They were self-aware. They had freedom of choice. Therefore, they could feel finitude. And if they could feel finitude, they needed to have a solution. And that solution is what we call the Veda. If you want to call it by some other name, you can do that, but that will be cultural misappropriation. Therefore, he says, therefore, jnanasya adhigame smrita. If you want this knowledge, come to the books that deal with it. There are a lot of books where this is mentioned. They don't deal with that. That is not their subject matter. They mentioned it there. Mentioned there. Last verse of the Quran says God is formless. Last verse. But leaves it there, doesn't deal with it. God told Moses, I am that. Doesn't deal with it. He said that. Christ made a couple of statements like that. Kingdom of God is within you. Father and Son are one and the same. That's put as a mystery now. Doesn't deal with it. Doesn't deal with it. Mention is there. Doesn't deal with it. I'm sure there are other religions also that mentions it. Doesn't deal with it. Buddha knew it. Buddhism took it as Shunya. That's the problem. When it became an ism, it became different. Unless you speak to the Zen masters, they will call it non-conceptual reality. That's a term we evolved in our discussions with them. With some of the Zen masters I knew. So, you want to know? Come to the books that deal with it. Yeah. And you will know. It doesn't depend upon your culture, religion, nationality, etc. To my knowledge, personal knowledge, this knowledge has been taught systematically in a country called Brazil. Knowledge is different, culture is different, but for 40 years it has been taught there by my own batchmate, Gloria. She got the Padma Shri for it. Our government gave her a Padma Shri because, hey, teaching here you don't deserve a Padma Shri, okay? Because Gloria got doesn't mean I should get. Or any one of us. Why? This is our culture. This is natural for us. Yeah, come on. What are you talking? You're doing what is yours. Yeah, you're doing what is yours. What is a great acknowledgement? We don't need anything. But there, different religion, different culture, different political system, that everything. There you have been teaching for 40 years. Wow. And nobody has given up their religion or their culture. They continue in the same. But with this knowledge along with that. Beautiful. Therefore, if you want to know the truth, come to the Veda, he says. Okay? Then what the knowledge, etc., that is revealed in the Veda, what is the Veda, etc., he goes into a discussion, which we will see next class. Okay? It's a good place to stop.